Hey everyone,
Anyway,
welcome to the Hume podcast, Roles and Lols. For those of you who don't know Hume we're a recruitment training business based in Australia, and to date we have trained thousands of recruiters across Oz, New Zealand, and a bit of Europe.
this is going to be a 10-minute quick tips and tricks with hopefully some laughs along the way for agency recruiters.
Yeah, hopefully you enjoy, and if you ever have any topics you'd like us to cover in the poddy, please shout out. Otherwise, you'll see us every week on a Friday for 10-minute episodes. Hopefully you enjoy.
See ya. Hello.
Everyone. Welcome back, guys. In full transparency, this is the only episode that we're re-recording.
We are re-recording, yeah.
And the reason a little bit ranty in the last one.
A bit ranty, and I was holding back, and what we discovered was maybe we agree on lots of things for sure, and I think we've got that, but I think we've got different opinions on a couple things. So we were like, let's fucking hash it out on camera. Let's go.
Yeah.
The gloves are up.
Okay, so the topic is, guys, why are agencies not as profitable as they were 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And my views in summary are our expectations of what a high performer is are so low. Agencies can't possibly make the money they were 10 years ago. i.e., a 100k biller 10 years ago was actually a good biller. I was a 100k biller 10 years ago, first moved to Australia, I had 4 years experience, joined a business here, did 100k quarters average for the first year in recruitment here. So that was a good performer back then, but it was comparative to what it cost the agency to have me in that seat. They were paying me 50k plus super. Their costs were much lower because Seek wasn't charging what they charge now. LinkedIn, we didn't have a LinkedIn recruiter license back then, didn't need it. It's mostly off of database. The cost of everything was so much lower. Now, fast forward 10 years to present day, me just replicate that scenario, that consultant with 4 years experience, proven experience would be on 100k. They're still billing 100k a quarter, and we're still going, oh, that's a high performer. And I'm like, no, it's not a high performer because everything else has gone up, but your expectations have remained here at 100k. And that's the biggest cost to an agency is your salaries. And all of them have gone up internally. And your consultants, if they're still billing 100k and we're going, you're a great performer, actually, in my personal opinion, they're not a great performer because the roles that I was placing 10 years ago, the salaries were much lower. So I was placing practice managers, ops managers, office managers, let's say average 80k plus super, charging 16%. Fast forward 10 years, if I'm still doing the exact amount of work or placing the exact amount, same number of people, I'm still charging 16% for argument's sake. I should be making a shit ton more money because the roles that I'm placing are no longer 80k, they're at 120k. So my fees should be up at that 600 mark comparatively. And then it's a good performer. At 600k, I would say good performer. Not great as well. I wouldn't say great performer at 600k, I'd say good performer. But those are the issues in my head. I don't think we as an industry are doing as much as we were 10 years ago, or perhaps the activities changed. And yeah, I think there's an issue there. Our expectations of what good looks like is just not where it should be.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you're saying. The problem that I then have with this idea and that we're aware of is we have agency owners saying to their consultants, you need to do more, you need to place more. I've given you the license, I've given you the ad space, I've given you the, the automation, I've given you things, and you could do more. My argument though, however, is the increase of fees and the salaries that we're placing have gone up marginally for sure, and they've increased, but the base salary of a consultant has gone up 100%, 50 to 100k in the last 10 years. It's gone up. So in order for a consultant to bill according to those increases, they do need to do more. They need to be placing not 2 to 3 roles a month. They need to be placing 3 to 4 or doing higher roles. What I think I have the issue with is the structure of how we are earning commission is old school. I don't know what the answer is, but I think we need to be recreating what that looks like. So earning potential for an agency owner is higher, but it's also motivated for their consultants to earn more. Because like you said, when you've got a consultant that's on 100K now and they need to be earning, 150K to be considered doing all right. And at the moment, what is the average that they're billing a consultant? 9K? Yeah.
Senior consultant, that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, there's no motivation there. I also think, we've seen a lot of stats come up around, databases aren't being used to their full potential. Marketing, and personal branding and agency branding is not being used to its full potential. Yes, we have accessibility to more now as consultants, but our role used to be a hell of a lot more straightforward 10 years ago. You got on the phones, you send a CV, you placed it. It was so straightforward. Now you have to be a marketer. Now you have to do the data. Now you still have to do the calls, but you've got to do them differently because God forbid we sell to them, they'll shut us down. Competition is way higher than it used to be. So there's so many other factors where our role has changed so much.
Very true. What would you do? I mean, just even hearing you there, if I was to run an agency again and I wanted people to perform at the level that I would want them and expect them to, which would be the 150 to 200 a quarter for a senior consultant, that would be my expectation. I wouldn't have the expectation that they do everything on their own, i.e. manage their own database, do research, do the automations, do marketing, run events. I wouldn't expect them to do that because they can't. It's not in their skill set. They don't have enough time. So I would have, and I honestly believe every single agency beyond that 10-person mark, absolutely minimum, they should have a marketer in-house. That would be non-negotiable for me. But that costs the business money. So if they're paying out commissions, as you said, traditionally from 10 years ago, the model's changed. Like we now need, I reckon we'll all have an automation specialist in our businesses, managing our database, doing that legwork to make sure we're unlocking the value of our database. But that will cost 120K. Who pays for it? The agency? Yes, but it then needs to be reflective in someone's commissions and how we earn commission. Because if the agency is investing 120K in an automation specialist, 140 in a good solid marketer, that's all cost to the business. That can't just be absorbed by the business because these two people are actually contributing to someone's sales activity. So do we actually just lower the percentages of what we're paying our consultants? But the issue then becomes, on the consultant level, the minute you change a percentage on a commission, they go, oh my God, I'm not getting paid as much. The agency is trying to take money from me. But actually, if communicated well, it's we're investing in these 3 key hires that will support you guys to make way much more money than you are already. For us to do that invest, percentages need to come down, potentially. I don't know, it's just spitballing. But on the whole, you'll be making way more money because your billing should then be reflected in the support that is given to you to bill more.
What would happen in a scenario where salaries were lower, commissions were higher, but that commission was split between a good individual billing, but really high team commission structure? Because if you then had a team that was working all to the same thing and you earned more, the team earned more, the leaders, the marketers, the talent, the resources, the senior consultants, the managers, you still were, recognized or rewarded for your individual contribution, but salaries were lower, but your earning potential was higher. What happens in that scenario?
Based on team comms.
Yeah.
It's tough. Whilst we all, I think the majority of people get that team comms would be a better model because you've then got a team actually working together.
Cohesively.
And you can go much further together. Honestly, you can always go much further together. However, that type of team you have to home grow Because if get a consultant who's been given individual
Yeah.
comms for the last few years and they're performing, nigh impossible to convince them to go to a team comms model because they're like, no, I'm the biller. I get commission for me and I bill a lot. So why would I share that with everyone? They don't see the bigger picture of, well, actually, if you work together, you go further, you'll make more money. It's a tough bridge. It's a really tough bridge for someone experienced. So
Yeah.
that scenario, I think you have to home grow them. And I know quite a few agencies, well, we do, Liz, that
Yeah.
for most of their competitors, they are only, and actually two of the agencies I'm thinking of don't even do comms. They don't do comms at all. They do an annual bonus based on company profits. And the other two do it based on team performance, but they outshine the other agencies by far because they're working together. They work like project managers. They help each other. They drop tools when something is needing to be addressed. They all work together from a marketing perspective because they know it will help. They'll push each other to do certain activities that aren't comfortable for certain people because it helps the overall. But I think those businesses only work because they have got people into those agencies with no recruitment experience. And if you don't know any better, haven't had a different model, and you've not been jaded by individual performance, then
Yeah.
this works.
All right. My final thoughts are, which there's no solution here. This is all just spitballing. But my final thoughts are base salaries 10 years ago versus now have increased 100%. The expectation of billings has not changed. It stayed the same. So that this is not working. If it was to increase from what it was 10 years ago to now, our consultants would have to bill 200K a quarter to based on the model, which you're not going to get a motivated team or a team of individuals that are going to be happy with that as their target.
They need to build 200K, but 150K honestly should be the benchmark of what good looks like in every single agency, in my personal opinion. 100K is no longer a great quarter. And we should stop with that rhetoric because the minute you tell someone this is what good looks like, that's in their head, in their psyche, in their subconscious, as that's what I need to hit. So if we're constantly going 100K quarters, great, that's what everyone will be aiming for. Increase the bar. Continue that rhetoric of 150K is a good quarter. And individually, for any consultant listening to this, 150K is where you should be and should be aiming for, honestly, because that's where you start making good
money. Yeah.
You don't make it on 100K anymore because your bases are 100. So your 3 times threshold is now 300K a year before you even earn commission. And then the average person, if you're billing 400K, you're only taking home, if you bill 400K, 30K in comms. It's not a lot of money. I earned way more than that 10 years ago. So just from your own perspective, try and work out a process and utilize the tools at your disposal. We've got LinkedIn. You do need to get good at branding and marketing to reach a wider audience, but it takes planning, it takes a bit of reflection, and honestly, it takes discipline.
Well, that's what I was going to say as well, because while I think there's a lot of agencies provide these tools for sure for their agency, for their team, there is no strategy behind using them and integrating that into your service. Yes, we have so much more available to us. Our roles, I think, have become more complex, but we don't have a strategy in place. It is, here's the tools, do more with it.
Yeah.
And that's not enough. That can't be enough. Then you've got someone that's been in recruitment 2 years, and you're telling them to also be a marketer and a data analysis and a salesperson and a HR advisor. Like, oh my God. That's a lot to take on.
And it requires strategy and leadership. That's ultimately what this requires to do well. Good strategy from the top, good leadership, not management, leadership. That's what it requires.
Yeah, you're not managing a team of sales rep anymore like you were 10 years ago. You are managing a team of highly skilled or training and developing highly skilled individuals that have to go in a lot of different areas to get to that point. And like we said before, there is money to be made. We know a lot of people that are still billing a huge amount of commissions every single month. It is still available, and we're in a downturn. So it will change, but it will be better if we are starting to recognize the changes in our roles, and there's a strategy behind it that backs it up, so we can get those comms up and everyone's happy again.
Yeah. Happy people billing will very rarely leave. Show me a performer that's consistently billing that has left their agency. But very rarely it happens unless something astronomical happens. You stay. If you're billing, you stay where you are. And if you're an agency owner wanting to retain your teams, make sure your only job, honestly, make sure they're billing, because the minute they're billing and earning commission, they're happy. Everyone's happier when things are going well. And it's our job as leaders to make sure things are going well financially, because we know that does have an impact on people's happiness at work.
Yeah. And making sure, like we said, people leave, bad leaders. They don't leave bad businesses as well. So if it's led from the top, there's a structure in place, everyone's earning money, people stick around.
If anyone wants to hash it out with us, give us a buzz. And we will see you next week for a less serious episode, maybe.
Yeah, we'll be way more laid back, way more chill.
See you.
All right, see you later.